Crowned Serpent Chapter 1. The shadow beneath the light. When the wandering god returned from the Western Isles, the light he carried was too bright for this world. Anglesey still hummed in his bones. Bryn Cethy Tor, the serpent mound, the memory, the Tor of Bryn Cethy whispering through the wind. He had seen how stone could remember intention, how the old keepers carved geometry into the landscape itself. When he came home, he did what they had done. He made a place sacred by presence alone. The garden became the temple. The chimenea became the pillar of fire. The circle of earth the altar. And it was there that the serpent began to move again. It began not in thought, but in body, breath, muscle movement. The tiger came first, stalking through him like an ancient rhythm, reborn through his eyes he learned focus, through its body ferocity. The mystics of the East had spoken. True spirit is not separate from flesh. The divine is a pulse that runs through sinew. Then came the dragon, through scrolls and visions, myths and medicines. He traced its scales across time, from China to Sumer, from Eden to Albion. Every culture remembered the same truth in different tongues. The serpent was never evil. It was the living current, breath of transformation, the bridge between worlds. The old text said dragons were elements themselves. But when the world was out of balance, they took human form to restore it. And so he looked within and saw the same power coiled at the base of his own spine. The fire that both destroys and heals, the serpent within the man, the crown within the body, the divine that had always been hidden in plain sight. He followed that current through bloodlines and stones, through scriptures and symbols. The tribe of Dan, the lost sons of Albion, the dragon banners of the old kings. Even the paleotypes of the ancient isle bore its signature. It was as though the land itself had been waiting for remembrance. But every illumination comes with costs. For when the light revealed the ancient design, it also exposed what had been forgotten, denied, buried. The same fire that awakens also burns away all that is false. That is the shadow beneath the light, knowing that once you've seen, you can never unsee. And that is where the crowned serpent begins. He had spent years searching for the divine in distant skies, in old books, in temples, built by other men. Yet when the wandering ended, he found the gods were buried in the ground beneath his own feet. Awakening wasn't a ladder that led upwards. It was a spiral that turned inward, deeper each time. The ancients had always known this. Illumination births its own darkness. The moment you touch the sacred, every unhealed thing within you comes to meet it. It's not punishment. It is the law of balance. There were nights when the fire in the chimenea seemed to whisper back to him, not in words, but in feeling. It told him that the same flame that warms the heart will one day turn the body to ash. That every act of creation demands an equal dissolution, and that somewhere between the two, between birth and death, stands a living human being, the one who dares to bear both light and shadow in the same soul. He began to understand that wandering God was never a name for him alone. It was an archetype, the seeker who goes out to find what was never lost, the part of the human spirit that refuses the cages of doctrine and empire. Yet the wandering God finds what he seeks. He cannot remain the same. To bring the light home is to face the darkness it reveals. He wrote in his journal one night, "Every revelation is a mirror, and every mirror cracks under the weight of truth." That crack was the beginning of embodiment, a place where myth leaves the heavens and enters the flesh. The tiger taught him to inhabit his own strength. The dragon taught him that power is only sacred when it serves life. The serpent taught him that wisdom is born not from purity, but from poison transmuted. He began to see these not as separate spirits, but as facets of the same archetypal current, the crowned serpent rising through form, learning itself through motion, seeking its own reflection in the human soul. It was both cosmic and personal, a myth older than scripture, and yet happening here, in the garden, between breath and the stars. Some nights he would lie beneath the black sky, listening to the slow rhythm of his own pulse, and feel the same heartbeat echoing in the earth. In those moments, he no longer felt like a man studying mythology. He felt like the mythology studying itself through him. This is the mystery of the shadow beneath the light. Illumination doesn't make you holy, it makes you honest. You begin to see how every virtue has its vice, how every god has its demon, how every revelation is balanced by its fall. To awaken is not to escape the human condition, it is to enter it completely without armour or pretense. And yet within that descent, a crown begins to form. Not a crown of gold, but of awareness. The serpent coiling towards the skull, the kundalini fire rising through the spine, the awakening of consciousness to its own reflection. The crowned serpent does not conquer the shadow, it wears it. It becomes whole through the marriage of opposites. He had not reached that stage yet, but he could feel it coming, like thunder on the horizon. The air itself was changing. The garden was alive with presence. And somewhere, deep within, something ancient was stirring. If you enjoyed this, I'm releasing each chapter as I write it monthly on my Patreon. I'm putting this one out, but the rest will be for paid subscribers. It's only £3 a month, just to support my work. Links in the bio.